folks, and welcome to the C.R.Kennedy live streaming station, the live stream channel where we bring you all the latest and greatest in the imaging world from a very safe social distance. To everyone out there in isolation land, we say hello, and we keep hearing about how now is the time to pursue a new creative hobby or fine-tune an existing passion of yours. And if your hobby is photography, you've come to the right station. Today, we are going to be talking about a very important part of photography, the part where you can get the most creative, and that is photographic lighting. The brand that we represent in this category that we're going to be talking about today is the #1 lighting brand in imaging. It is, of course, Profoto. To guide us through this brand and these products is Profoto ambassador and photographer extraordinaire, David Boon. Welcome, and thank you for being with us today, Dave. To get us started, Dave, why don't you tell us a bit about your experience in photography and what you're mainly shooting?
At the moment, I'm shooting a little bit of everything, probably most. So I would say I'm an advertising photographer, but I've shot everything from fashion to theatre, direct a bit of TV commercials and things like that, and yeah, a little bit of personal fine art, I guess.
Dave, you've got a great body of work that you've amassed. Some really amazing images that we're going to go through today. A bit of BTS to show you guys how Dave's done it. The tips and trade secrets are all going to be revealed during this stream, so stay tuned for that. But perhaps, Dave, maybe we can start off. How did your association with Profoto begin?
Ooh. I didn't use any lighting when I started photography. I was among those people obstinate about not using it because it looked horrible, which meant I didn't know how to use it, basically. And then my dad actually bought the first flash head ever that we owned. I think it was a B2 set. And he was like, here, if you're going to do and take this seriously, you've got to learn how to use lighting.
Yeah.
And I took that and kind of practiced and hated it and hated it and hated it until finally,
Fantastic.
apparently I was doing something right.
And so what is in your bag now? If we look in your lighting kit, what models do you have typically?
I've got, if you want to talk Profoto, we'll start at the beginning of the alphabet.
Yes.
A1s.
Great product, the A1.
Got 3 of those bad boys. B2s, got rid of them. Have B1Xs and B10s, a couple of each, and then your D2 500 and D2 1000 watt heads.
And with the A1, when would you typically use that over the B2? What's the scenario?
The A1 will probably leave my bag the least, unfortunately, but it's there for if I either run out of a light or need to do something really fast, so something to use as like a kicker or something, because as far as using modifiers with it, it's a bit more clunky than the rest of them.
For the people out there that are perhaps new to the Profoto range or don't know it so well, the Profoto A1 is the world's smallest studio light that is an on-camera light. I think we have one here in front of us. There, that is the world's smallest studio light. And then the other model you mentioned was the B2.
B1.
B1, sorry.
Yes,
B1,
sorry. Yeah,
which is also here in between us.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, the B2s are great little light heads, but unfortunately needing a little bit of less cable is this bad boy, which probably is my most used light. Because you don't need to worry about bringing a generator or anything onto your outdoor sets. You just plug in a few batteries and they charge pretty fast.
So one other point that gets spoken about a lot with this Profoto lighting, and you spoke about it a bit at the start, was the ease of use. How do you find the ease of use of the Profoto equipment and the layout of the controls?
Well, they're definitely built for exactly that.
Yeah.
The great thing about it is you can bring an assistant on who's never worked as an assistant before and turn around and go, I want the light at 5, and it's a twist of the dial and it's there. All the buttons are labelled. It's pretty easy. Anyone could pick it up, I think.
What a lot of people have said to us about the Profoto gear is that you don't need to read the instruction manual. Anyone can figure it out. It's that intuitive to use and that easy to use.
Has anyone ever read an instruction manual?
Well, that's true. That's a good point. As guys, I think we don't like reading instruction manuals generally, but sometimes you need to. Sometimes products are a bit complicated, particularly lighting, but the ease of use of this Profoto gear means it's just so intuitive. And so, what are your favorite light shaping tools in the Profoto range, Dave, and why is that?
I'm going to say the umbrella is my biggest use tool. You don't need to set him up. You basically just pop him and he's ready to go, which is honestly the greatest thing, is being able to do something fast on set, and you can diffuse it pretty easily with a scrim and get a fair range of variety out of just one modifier. I probably would bring that and use it on almost every set that I'd see.
I think we're seeing the umbrella in this shoot you did in Brisbane.
Down here in South New South Wales, down in Kiama. You'll probably see it on most every shot of this, apart from, it's up there on a big stand you can't see, but we probably used, I think, 3 umbrellas in that one key photo.
So what was the brief for this shoot, David, and what equipment did you use to get the result?
This was a bit of a editorial test for a magazine based in London. So we put together a mood board and sent it off, and I worked with a fashion stylist from Melbourne who brought up all the styling, and she worked on the styling edge aside with me.
I like the headgear. Looks very, very nice.
Yeah, that's something the stylist I think really loved, was the use of like caps and things. I don't think there was
and the goggles on top.
I think there was not a single shot without them, to be honest.
Okay, it's a good look.
Yeah.
It might take off. Pardon the pun. So that was, and so you used the umbrella on that. What was the other gear you used on that shoot?
I think we used a little bit of everything on that shoot. There's a bit of hard light in there. I think we used beauty dishes. We used some zoom reflectors. We used just some bare heads. Earlier in the video, you saw barn doors.
Yeah.
They were just pointed up at the roof, and the barn doors just meant that none of the light spilled on the set, so that we got some cross-contamination.
This one on the screen now is my favorite shot. We were just sort of blown away. No, it's not on the... It's coming up, guys. That's something to stay tuned for. One interesting point is you said that when you go out on the shoot, you don't need a generator with this Profoto gear. I guess naturally the next question people are going to ask you is what is the battery life like?
I reckon, depending on how fast and often you're shooting, like if you're shooting something like sports or motion, you'll probably pump down pretty fast. But you probably get a solid half an hour to an hour, depending on the duration with the battery. And then the good thing about them is, before you'd use a battery, another battery will be fully charged as long as you pop
So
in
you always have a couple of spare batteries with you?
Yeah, I have probably 4 to 8 kicking around on set.
And you said about an hour and a half out of each?
A half an hour to an hour, depending on how crazy you're being with
how many shots do you typically get out of that?
I wouldn't like to guess.
Okay.
I'm not heavy on the trigger finger,
okay.
So because I shoot medium format, and you can't get that many shots out a second, so it's a bit, less than probably the normal person.
And there's also that element of seamless connectivity with Profoto. Is the Air TTL system easy to use? Some wireless systems are notoriously difficult to use. So what's your experience with the Air TTL on the Profoto kit?
Great. Never had an issue. The only issue I've ever had is when I'm shooting in studio and someone's got the same channel selected in the next studio, so your lights go off randomly. But I generally don't use the TTL function. I'm a complete manual user. But yeah, never switch it on and go.
TTL is cheating, right?
Yeah, less control. I think I want to be making the decisions, not the camera ever.
Sure. Sure, but for guys that are not quite at your level yet, the TTL's there.
I mean, great to see what the light will do, but I would encourage everyone. I know, the TTL is great, and I have used it particularly shooting the A1 for events when I started. it was great because I didn't have to think, and you get a great shot out of it. But I would encourage anyone who wants to grow creatively to chuck it on manual and
It's a good tip. We're all about giving the
bit of
tips today.
practice.
If anyone watching this stream at home has any questions, just put them below, and Dave will be sure to answer them. We'll do our very best. You know, we were speaking a lot about shooting on location. You know, using the flash out of the studio, which is something that you typically do, Dave. How does a Profoto gear stand up to the rigors of a location shoot?
Great. I've had several stands fall over with these guys, collapse several times, and had some things break, but most, like in the half dozen times things have fallen over, the lights are pretty robust, and the worst thing I've actually ever had happen is the glass on the front shatter, and that's a pretty easy replace, and pretty fast too. I think it got it replaced in the same day with the guys at CR.
Oh, can't complain about the service then. That's what we like to hear. So yeah, let's discuss some photos. That's what it's all about. Not just us talking. We want to see some images that David's done using this Profoto gear. Is this coming up on the screen now? Nice floral shot there. Dave,
Yeah.
do you want to walk us through that one, how you got that?
Pretty sure this was my favourite brolly, just kind of shooting from the right with a little bit of a white bounce from a wall. I've got a big love of flowers and everything floral. If you look at the rest of my work, you probably see it pop up quite a bit.
That's a great kind of high key type shot. Anything else you want to say about that one?
I mean, it's something great to be shooting at the moment. If you want to practice with anything, this is in my practicing days at home. Don't need much space at all. Up against, I think, a pillowcase that I'd.
Oh yeah.
that
to get that, you didn't.
Steamed.
Yeah, that was your backdrop, the pillowcase.
I think so. This is.
But it looks like it's taken in a professional studio. So that just shows you can really make your own sort of ad hoc studio at home using a few household items, like a pillowcase.
Absolutely. Just anything and everything you've got at home, like.
And knock out these professional grade results.
Yeah.
That's very impressive.
One of my friends in New York currently stuck at home, and he shot a job for a clothing line, and he was talking about using actual pillows and sheets and things
Good
up against
tip.
the window for bounce.
Pillow sheets against the window for a bit of bounce. This is also a great shot. You could do it in your bedroom, but you've done it in looks like a motel type setup here.
Airbnb over in Perth.
Airbnb in Perth. It's got that very Americana feel to it, this shot for my mind.
Very like 70s, 80s.
Yeah. That divey American motel look. How did you get this?
Pretty easily and simply. Just I'm hiding there behind the couch. Just kind of saw a shot, actually, where we were staying on a bit of a holiday.
Fantastic.
And
creeping behind the couch.
Creeping behind the couch. Just some nice foreground framing there, and then part of the, it's mostly natural light in there, but there's a nice kind of like rim light kicking on the face, and for that I've actually got the new Profoto C1 Plus.
Okay, that's a product that I really like, the C1. I think it's one of the coolest products floating around in the photo market now, because it's a proper studio light that can be used with an iPhone.
Yeah.
And in this instance, you use the C1s to get this shot?
Not with an iPhone, with a camera.
Not with an iPhone. I can tell that's
Yeah.
not an iPhone. It almost looks like a medium format.
Yeah, medium format. Yeah. When I'm traveling, it's I didn't think I'd honestly use them, and I ended up using them quite a bit overseas and when I was traveling. So this is just the light kind of taped behind the lamp.
So how many C1s did you use in this shot?
Just one little bad boy.
Just one C1, and you're getting that type of result. That is amazing.
Yeah, it's just the mainly that key on the face.
What a shot!
Shape it.
What a shot with just one C1. Next one coming up now. We've got a bit of a frozen motion type shot. Looks almost underwater.
Yeah, a couple of dancers in an old shed here in Sydney that was about to be demolished. They let us have a day to shoot before they crushed it down.
Again, what was the lighting setup?
I believe it was a couple of D2. No, there's a B1 and a D2. The B1, you can see up there, there's no cables kicking above, and that's our main key light. I've left it in the image. I kind of liked how it framed the shot. Sorry.
No, we were saying before how good the Profoto kit looks, how nice the design is. Often it looks quite good when the light is left in the shot itself, as it is here. So you had that one up the top. Did you have another light?
Yeah, I had another light bouncing into a big, just a white sheet actually that I bought from, I don't know, what's that shop you go and buy sheets from?
I don't.
Sheet shop. I think it was like a queen white sheet just hung from a C-stand and a light bouncing into it to just pick up all the rest of those shadows and a bit of natural light in the room.
I like it. The old sheet trick again. It's come in handy a few times. Here's another shot. Have you used the
exact same setup for the series? That way it kind of kept continuous. And I think you probably notice, you might not notice, the skin tones are a little bit warmer. So I've just got like a quarter CTO or maybe a half CTO gel popping over the top. The good thing about the Profotos is I don't need to bother about grabbing any tape or sheets and cutting them up and putting them over it. You just get these little caps that fit on the end.
Okay, we've got some questions coming in. If you want to keep shooting those questions through, we're happy to answer them. Dave, the man with all the knowledge, all the Profoto and lighting knowledge is here and ready to answer any questions we have coming through.
Okay guys, so first question here is, if you could take one light with you, which one would you take, David?
One light with you for the rest of your life. That's all you've got.
The sun, probably, but that's pretty
That's
with us. But if not, it would probably be the B1X. Just being able to drop it, have it in your bag, and have something that's pretty continuous and non-failing would probably be it. And I'll put up with its bit more size for the great power it has. Shoot outside, shoot inside.
How many of your shoots? What percentage of your shoots would you use the B1X for?
Of the ones that I light with flash, probably I would say a good 60-70%.
Okay,
would
that's
involve
your go-to for about 3/4 of the shoots.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, great. So we've got more questions coming. Time for one more question.
Yeah, so we've got one here from Alfred, which is, which unit can overpower the sun? So which one, I suppose, would you choose to overpower the sun?
That's a tricky question, I guess.
It's a tough question.
I very rarely will choose ever to shoot in the midday sun. So in saying that, anything, probably the B1 to a pack I'd use outside, or a generator with my D2s. Shooting in the midday sun with the bare head, you can overpower the sun as long as you're within, I would say, 1.5 meters. But you can add something like there's a Magnum modifier or a zoom modifier, and they've got, I don't know, I think the Magnum's like an extra 2 stops of light that gets kind of reflected in the modifier to come out and get you a bit more power out.
Okay, good tips for shooting in the middle of the day. We have more questions. We're happy to answer them. Keep sending them through.
So we have another question here from Les, which is, have you used high-speed sync or HSS?
Yeah. Basically, probably every time I shoot outdoors, I would use high-speed sync a lot of the time. Even just having it on as a safety, because the worst thing you want to do is shoot a whole series of images. And I try not to look too much at my screen when I'm shooting, because I want to focus in on, once I've done like one shot and I know the lighting's good, I just want to keep focused in on the subject, usually when I'm working with people, and have that rapport with them. So very rarely I'll look at my screen, and the last thing I want to do is be shooting with not high-speed sync on and actually get some barring in the photo.
Okay, guys, we also have to take this a little moment to remind you of the Profoto competition. Profoto competition is now live. You have an opportunity to enter and win a Profoto A1X, an off-camera kit, and a Profoto Academy course. follow the link in the description to enter that comp, and you could get your hot little hands on an A1X, the smallest on-camera studio light in the world. It's an amazing piece of kit. Something you use sometimes yourself, David. So another point that people mention about Profoto equipment a lot is the recycle times.
Yep.
How do you find the recycle times compared to other lights, and what has that enabled you to do in your photography?
I very rarely use other lights because once you find something that works, you don't really
That's what we like to hear.
you don't really go there. But when I have used other brands, there's been a couple of issues, but I would say, just speaking on Profoto, they're pretty good. I mean, the B ones, you do have to watch not shooting too quick, because every shot you get, they will reduce power because the capacitors need to charge again to get out again. But just say with my D2s, I will fire and fire and fire and fire, and generally no inconsistencies, even with the 1DX Mark II, which has got a crazy, I don't know what it is, 12 shots a second or something. I don't think I would miss a frame.
That's good to hear. Yeah, it's amazing the recycle times on the Profoto products now. So is there, what have you got coming up? Is there any works you can talk about you've got in the offing, as they say, David?
I've got a personal series that I'm shooting at the moment. I'm doing a little bit of practice at home, a little bit of writing now that we're a bit more locked down, because I do a bit of script writing. I have something in the works with a studio. But as far as work goes, it looks like I'm just about to bid. There seems to still be some work out there. Just had a contact with a marketing agency from America to do a shoot for a sports brand. So we're just working out the ways that we can actually do it safely in this environment and following all the government rules and things.
Yes, it's tough, isn't it? Because you were telling me you do quite a bit of work over in the States. You had one good story about using the A1, the same product that we have in the comp, in a shoot in New York.
That was a C1, sorry.
Okay. And you want to tell us about how you use the A1 in that shoot?
Just had a little bit of a couple of shoots organised with a couple of models over there, some test shoots while we're there, and we brought the couple of C1s along and a mate who I was visiting over in Chicago, and he held it for me just off camera. We had to keep it quite close because the C1, compared to a lot of the other lights, doesn't have that much power.
Being physically smaller, you've got to get a bit closer.
Yeah, because the closer you are with the smaller light, the softer it will be. And while you'll never get a softness like an umbrella, if you're further and further away, you do generally get a bit more hard light and potentially a little bit more specularity.
I always like hearing the stories about using the C1 on high-end professional shoots. We market it as a product. This is the Profoto C1. We market it as a product that you use with your iPhone. If you're an iPhone shooter, you can have professional studio lighting, but you can also use it, you're shooting medium format, high-end pro shoots, and using the C1 on those shoots and getting incredible results.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anyone at home, if they're wanting just to have a little bit of fun and make their work look a bit better by actually shaping light, C1's great. But I find it great on sets. We've used it in a couple of TV ads where we actually hidden it in places where you wouldn't fit another light, used it as an eye light, when I'm traveling, it's great. I can fit 2 little C1 lights in my bag with 1 camera and 1 lens, and
it's fantastic. It's almost a product that you should never really leave home without, because it's small enough to fit in your pocket, and you're just going to take your photography to the next level using that C1, whether it's on a smartphone or with high-end professional kit as well. It can handle it all. So, as you guys know, Profoto products are available through a dealer network here in Australia. We have Camera Pro for you guys in Queensland, in Sydney, New South Wales. George's is our dealer here in Victoria, Borg's Imaging, and Michael's. South Australia is Diamonds, and over in the Golden West, WA, Camera Electronic is a great dealer over there. So if you guys are interested in looking up some of this Profoto gear, I think we'll put a few links below of these dealers and where you can go to buy some of the products that David's been talking about throughout the course of the live stream. If you've got any questions, guys, keep them coming through. While we've got Dave and Specular as well, as the guys reminding me, we've got such good distribution coverage, such a good dealer network. I can't remember everyone off the top of my head.
And at the moment, like I've done for a job, I mean, I think most of their shop doors might be closed, but you can actually order them, come straight to your door.
Shop online. Now is the time to shop online. All these dealers have got great websites, and most of them will have all these products we've been talking about today, and that Dave's been using professionally and getting really great results out of it. To me, I'm interested in this isolation lockdown phase. We've spoken about it a bit, but I'm interested in how, home shooting, home photography, turning your lockdown house into a studio. Have you got any more? I love the bed sheet tip, the pillowcase tip for the studio backdrop. You got any more tips for home shooters?
I mean, you could honestly shoot anything. Now's the best time. Some of the best photographers in the world. If you've watched a masterclass episode with Annie Leibovitz, her beginning was shooting her family, and especially now you might be getting on each other's nerves, like shut at home, particularly with your close family. But you may as well use that time to actually photograph them and practice with your lighting things if they can put up with that and them getting their photo taken. Just promise you don't put it anywhere or something. But you can, I mean, I've been shooting sneakers, a whole collection of sneakers.
That's a cool one. I like that. That's a good idea because you're known largely for your portrait work, Dave. So now's a good time to get those portraits going. Practice on your family members or your girlfriend. We've got another question coming through. Does the C1 work with Air TTL?
Absolutely. That's how I took the all the shots in Chicago. Was all triggered off the universal remote on top of my Hasselblad. The other thing that is pretty good with it. I think you do get a bit more power shooting with the flash function in it. Though the continuous light you can use quite readily for anything as well. So you even if you don't have a remote, you can use that light source pretty well.
Sounds good. Are we able to go through some more images now, or what's coming up on the screen? Are we seeing Dave's shot here? This, to me, is the most attention-grabbing shot, Dave, that one that just came up with the book opening up. You want to walk us through what is going on there? It looks like it's very trippy, very psychedelic, very cool.
This was one of my first shots ever, I think, coming to Sydney, and like commercially, there was a bit of a competition put on by Sydney Festival to create a shot to be their front cover of their magazine. So there was a date set, and they had this warehouse kind of space with a whole bunch of props that you could use, and I had a bit of a think about what could be the front cover of a book. And I thought about the Sydney Festival, and I was like, how great would it be if you open it up and you're kind of being blown away by all the things inside?
Yeah.
And as a little bit of fun, I took 2 shots. The woman on the front is actually the same woman reading it, looking up at herself in awe of what's happening. So there's kind of this shot was designed to be on the front of a magazine, so that you would kind of have this inception moment going where, there's someone looking up at a person opening a magazine while you're opening the magazine inside, and it's being blown away by.
That is a fantastic shot. And what was the lighting setup used for that one?
4 lights, 4 D2s. There was 2 lights in the backdrop, one gelled yellow, one gelled blue, and then you can kind of see it bouncing off the backdrop and giving a little bit of a kiss.
I see the one gelled yellow, one gelled blue.
Yeah, kind of like bounce back and kiss the subject on the end, provide a little bit of separation, and then there's one big umbrella right above. That's now, I think, still covered in blue light, and then one beauty dish just off to your right, just to make sure that her face is a little bit brighter than the rest.
Okay, we've got another question coming through. Do you have a favorite modifier?
Oh, I think I've already answered this when I said the umbrella.
Oh, the umbrella. Back to the umbrella.
The umbrella is the greatest thing ever. It just, for me, who's lazy, and can't be bothered setting up a big modifier. Just being able to pop something up, and the amount of softness and big light source you can get, but then also the amount of control you can get by, you can actually pull the umbrella stick. I don't know what you call the center of the umbrella. The stand?
The stand, the center,
stand?
we just call it the center stick.
The center stick, you can pull that center stick closer further if you wanted a bit more of a hard edge on it. So you can play around with that spill on your backdrop. So I think as a single modifier, that would be my go-to. But then, like just a bare head, you can do a lot with a bare-headed light. Bounce it, direct it straight at a subject, and then use things like black cutters or cardboard to make funky shapes on backdrops.
Very cool. So again, we've got to mention all these Profoto products that Dave's been talking about today are available now through our dealer network. Camera Pro in Queensland, here in Sydney, where we're doing the stream from, George's, down in Victoria, Specular, Borg's Imaging and Michael's, over in Adelaide, Diamonds, and in WA, Camera Electronic. Depending on where you are or who your preferred dealer is, jump on the websites and you can order all these products now. They're in stock, available at world competitive prices right here in Australia now. Get your home studio set up, turn your isolation into creation, and follow some of David's tips. The other thing we have to mention today is the Profoto competition. If you enter into that, you've got the chance to win an A1X off-camera kit, and of course the Profoto Academy course. Follow the link in the description to enter. Get in there now, guys, for your chance to win the world's smallest studio light. Although maybe it's been overtaken by the C1 now, but I don't know if we count.
It's not an on-camera studio light.
Okay, not on camera. So this is still the smallest, but a real studio light that fits on the top of your camera. It's a great product that we had a lot of fun launching here last year. We had Sal Sincotta, big photographer from the US, come out and run us through the paces of the A1, and he's get some amazing results off that. So it just shows you don't always need the top end to get those great results. Even the entry-level Profoto stuff, the C1, the A1X, we're getting great professional grade results out of that. So guys, look at all those products. David, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you here for the live stream. Good friend of the company, great ambassador for Profoto. Your work is absolutely amazing, and your tips are brilliant. I love the isolation tips, the home studio tips, and all the great work you're doing. So thanks so much for being our guest today, being our resident expert. Much appreciated.
No worries at all. And I guess everyone stay safe.
Stay safe, everyone, and
have some fun.
Have some fun at home. Get your creative juices flowing with Profoto equipment and your home studio setup. And join us again for the next live stream. I think we're signing off now. But stay safe and have fun in isolation.